정말 건강한 피지컬.
Hello, my name is Megan. I'm a 19-year-old K-pop fan from Lufkin, Texas. And if you don't know Texas geography, Lufkin is right smack dab in the middle between Dallas and Houston, Texas. So I'm able to go and see a lot of K-pop shows because I'm super close to several major cities, to be honest. Those are just the two that are closest in proximity to me. So since I became a fan of K-pop in 2017, I've been able to go to 6 shows, one of those being the reason why I assume you clicked on this video, which was Monsta X in Houston for the We Are Here World Tour. Last year, I saw Monsta X in Dallas at the Grand Prairie Theater. I think it's called the Verizon Theater. And they were absolutely amazing then. But at the time, I was only able to afford P5 tickets, which if you don't know K-pop tiers, P5 is generally in the back. Somehow, we were like at the very front of P5. It almost seemed like we were in the P4 section, but we were in the right section that time. So we were in a good spot and we could see the boys really well, we being my brother and I. I have always attended concerts being in the back. I've never been close except for Monsta X in Houston on July 27th, 2019. So our story begins on, I would say Tuesday of last week. I'll put the date here because I don't remember when it was, but that is when Monsta X arrived in the US and their show was on Thursday, their show in Dallas. And earlier this year when tickets came out, I had made peace with the fact that I wasn't going to go see them. I'm on a budget, as any good 19-year-old should be, and I wanted to save my money for other groups that I hadn't gotten to see yet, because of course, last year in 2018, I had already gotten to see them. Well, when they came to the US that Tuesday, this past Tuesday, I started getting kind of sad that I didn't have tickets to go see them because Monsta X is in my top 3 favorite K-pop groups. BTS, Monsta X, and Stray Kids being my 3 favorites. I started getting super sad and was complaining to my brother that I wasn't able to go. We had seen them together last year, but he and I both were not in a great place for me or him to purchase both of our tickets. And concerts aren't really his scene anyway, but I still enjoy taking him places with me. We're really close. And Monsta X is his favorite K-pop group besides 17. That's besides the point. On Thursday, when the show in Dallas happened, I kind of had forgotten about it until the morning after, which was Friday, which is, I guess, really and truly where our story starts. On Friday morning, I got a Facebook notification from the Houston Monsta X concert event that the Smart Financial Center had put up. I had clicked months ago that I was interested in that event, and it said, hey, tickets are still available if you need to get some, which Facebook does that for all events. If there are tickets available, it'll notify you saying, hey, if you still are looking for them, here they are. So just out of curiosity, I clicked to see what tickets were available. I knew that I wasn't gonna buy any, but I just thought, I wonder what seats they still have. So I looked, and of course, all of the resale tickets were extremely expensive, at least for my budget. They were all over $150 or so. And I just couldn't afford that. So as I'm going into work with my brother to come work at my office, which is where we are now, by the way. I guess I should mention that I work at a postal service company in the mornings 6 days a week, and I'm also a psychic medium. So right now we're in my office. So as we're heading to my office on Friday, I was telling him how I was looking at the tickets, but how I didn't think I was gonna be able to go. Again, out of curiosity, I started looking at the tag on Twitter, the Monsta X in Houston tag, and saw that there were people selling their tickets. And I just had a really strange, strong feeling about this one ticket in particular. I think it was for section 103. This person was desperately trying to get rid of their ticket. So I messaged them and I said, hey, how much are you selling the ticket for? Can I get some details on it? And then I went to talk to my dad, because my dad helps me make decisions when I'm feeling anxious. And he said, well, I don't really know about it, but why don't you go read your cards? Personally, for me, I don't read my own cards or do my own psychic readings very much because I know I'll be biased. But in this case, I thought it would be a really good learning experience. So I set up my phone and I did an Instagram live stream where I read my own cards and kind of explained what I was doing the whole time. All of the cards that I pulled told me that I needed to do it. My main concern was about money. I was like, am I gonna be able to afford this? I'm a 19-year-old who has bills and a car that I just bought. So that was my main concern, was if I spend money on this ticket, am I gonna have money to pay bills? And all of the cards that I pulled were super duper extremely positive. Not only that, but while I'm doing the live stream, I'm getting messages from clients either scheduling appointments for the next day or scheduling appointments for the next week. And so I took that as a sign as do it. So I'm talking to this person. I put in an offer on the ticket because she was just saying, I want any amount of money for it. Like, I'm just trying to get rid of it. So I put in an offer for $85. And this ticket, I believe, was in the P2 section. So she was trying to sell it for like $110. I put an offer in because she was willing to negotiate. She said that she would have to get back to me because the only reason she was selling her ticket was because her friend wasn't able to go, or there was something where she was taking her friend's ticket, which was closer, and she was trying to sell her ticket just to get some money back. The next morning after I get off of my corporate job, which was about 8:30 in the morning, I sent her a message about 9 o'clock and said, hey, I really need to know if you can sell me this ticket by 3 o'clock today, because I live 2.5 hours away from the venue. She said, my friend is trying to figure some things out. I'll let you know as soon as I do. I messaged her after lunch and I was like, hey, I really need to know. I mean, it's kind of getting closer to the deadline. I kind of just need you to tell me, yes, can you sell me the ticket, or no? If it's an issue of money, whatever, I'm not going to be offended. I just really need to know if you can sell me this ticket or not. She comes back and says, sorry, I'm not going to sell the ticket anymore. I'm keeping my ticket because my friend decided that she's keeping hers. Whatever. I was kind of annoyed that it took that long to get a response, but I had a client coming in at 2 and this was 1:30. So I really didn't have the time to mess with it anymore. I read her message and I went on with my business. My first client went really well. It was really enjoyable for me, and her friend that she had brought also wanted a reading. So unexpectedly, I had 2 readings back to back, and I got finished a little bit before 4 o'clock, I'd say, chatted with them for a little bit, saw them out, and went back into the Monsta X tag. So it's about 4 o'clock, and like I said, I live 2.5 hours away from the venue. The show started at 8. A little after 4, I go back into the Monsta X tag to see if anybody is selling their ticket. Lo and behold, I find somebody who has a ticket that they're trying to sell, and they seem like I'm gonna make a whole video at another point about how to look out for scammers, but her account was clear. It seemed like she was just genuinely trying to get rid of this ticket. And so I messaged her, shout out to you, Melanie, you're the bomb diggity. So I sent her a message, said, hey, how much are you selling this ticket for? She said that she dropped the price $100 and was selling it for $85. So the original person who I was talking to, who will go unnamed, didn't accept my offer, couldn't sell their ticket. I had offered $85 for it. That was the highest amount I was willing to pay for a ticket. And this completely new girl was selling her ticket for $85. What are the chances? So I told her, I'm gonna buy this ticket. I wanna buy it through PayPal Goods and Services. She said, great. I sent her the money. She transferred me the ticket. And within literally half an hour, I went from not having a ticket to the show to having a ticket to the show. It was absolutely bonkers. I couldn't believe what was going on. I was shaking. I felt really nervous. I am not a spontaneous type of person at all. So this for me was a huge deal. My brother had taken our shared vehicle to get some coffee for the crew. I should mention that I am a psychic medium. I have my own practice in my own office. My office is in a tattoo shop. It's a really cool situation. I can explain more if you guys are curious about it. But he was getting coffee for the rest of our crew, so I didn't have a car until about 5 o'clock. When he got back with our vehicle, I said, I got a ticket, adios. I basically got my phone charger, my keys, my phone, makeup, and that was it. So I jumped in the car, 5 o'clock. I got there about 7:30. I don't really like driving by myself. It makes me sleepy and it's very boring. It doesn't matter how interesting the podcast or music you have on. I get bored. I like to have conversations in the car with people. Got there in the nick of time. I parked. Parking was like $15, which isn't bad. I've paid more for parking. And followed everybody into the venue. And I do have some clips of this. I do have a bunch of clips from the show. I have not watched all of them, so I will insert a lot of my concert clips either while I'm talking or at the end. I haven't done YouTube in a while, so bear with me. I get in line and I am shocked because it's 7:30 and there's still a ton of people milling around. This is a seated venue. To my knowledge, there was no pit. Everyone was seated. It was crazy to me that the lines were so long. I got in line and there was this really nice older couple. They were probably in their 50s or 60s. They were there of their own accord. They really like K-pop and they were really, really sweet. We talked, we found out that we were in the same section. They were just behind me. Now, when I bought this ticket, I knew I was close, but I didn't know I was as close as I ended up being. I was in section 105, which was, if you're on the stage looking out, it was Monsta X's left. That was like the edge section. Our section wasn't even caught in the group photo, so I can't even show you guys where I was in that photo because I was doing this. And obviously, because my tattoos are so bright, you would have been able to see me, but I think section 105 and section 101 were cut off because they were just so far on the edges. But I was super duper close. I get inside the venue and I immediately go to the bathroom to like blot my face and put on mascara because without it I look like a gremlin. I put on some lip gloss because I just wanted to look nice for the videos and photos I was gonna take. And at this point, it's after 8 o'clock, but they're delaying the show because there were still so many people outside waiting to get in. I go find my seat, and again, I was blown away by how close I was. It was insane. I have not been this close ever at a show. Even when I paid like P1 for Tomorrow by Together, my sister and I hung out in the back of the venue. Like I've never been that close, ever. It was crazy because I was at the front of P2. When I bought the ticket, I really didn't realize that's how close I was. I knew it was P2. I wasn't gonna settle for less than P2 if I was to buy a resale ticket because it didn't seem worth the effort to buy a P5 ticket in the nosebleeds to make a 2.5-hour drive, you know. The girls that I was sitting next to were really sweet, and our row was completely empty. It was section 105, row in, seat 3, I think. And it was just us 3 in our row. So we had this whole row all to ourselves. So I had like room to like dance and move around, and we weren't all squished together, which was nice. So the concert starts and they are right there. Seriously, the only thing separating me and them was there was a couple rows in front of me, which weren't very full. There was P1, but then the stage, Monsta X is so good at fan service. They really made a point to like really go and pay attention to everybody, especially Hyungwon, my boy. He did excellent. Seriously, he was all over the stage, like paying attention to the fans. I'll get to that in a second. And while I was like, from where I was looking at them, I was super diagonal. My videos are all from a diagonal perspective. I wasn't dead on or anything. The view was crazy. Like, I could see their facial expressions. I didn't have to look at the big TV if I didn't want to, because I could see them doing their own thing on the stage. Like, I could see their facial expressions. I could see them, playing around with each other. That was really cool. But the big parts that I want to tell you guys about is the interactions that I got with the members. Because we were so close, not P1 close, but because we were at the front of P2, like the very front of that section, I'm pretty sure that they could see the people on the very sides. The lights are so bright that they do blind them in a way. It makes them hard for them to see the fans. You can see that at all K-pop concerts. That's why they'll like turn up the lights sometimes so that way they can see their fans. Because usually the bright lights are just way too bright for them to see anything except what's on the stage. But we were in the corner where the lights, I guess, didn't blind them as much. That's why section 105 and section 101 got so much attention. From what I experienced and what I saw online, we got a lot of attention besides the people in P1 who were in the orchestra pit right in front of the stage. And my first interaction was with Hyungwon. He came over and was like at the very edge of where he could be. And I swear to God, we locked eyes. And I can't tell if he was glaring at me, and I don't know why he would be, but I couldn't tell if he was glaring or if it was just too bright. But you know when you meet eyes with somebody, even if you're really far away, like you can tell when somebody's eyes are on you. It's a human instinct. His eyes were on me, like we locked eyes, we had a moment, and he was just like making this face, and I was just doing this, or like blowing kisses to him, and then he walked away. So locked eyes with him, and while that's not super duper important or anything, I still thought it was really cool. My other interaction took place later in the concert, and that was with Joohwan. Now, Joohoney, he's such a sweetie. I had been up since 4 a.m. because my other job, the not psychic medium job, requires me to work from about 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. every morning. That fluctuates, but I woke up at 4 that morning. I was really tired, and when I get really tired, if I haven't slept in a long time, I get really nauseous. So towards the end of the concert, I do actually think that this was the encore, I was sitting down because I wasn't terribly fond of the song that was playing, and I just felt really sick. So I didn't feel like jumping around or dancing or anything like that. And again, I swear he was looking at me, like he wasn't looking down, like he was looking over at our section. I'm sitting in my chair, I'm the only one sitting in our section, and he points, and he's like dancing, but he points with both of his fingers. So I get up and I point at myself, and he nods and puts one of his arms down, and he's just nodding and bopping his head. And then once I had gotten up and was dancing, he kind of smiled and walked away, and I was just dude, he saw me. That was so cool. I kind of feel bad. I hope that he didn't think badly of me for sitting down, but I felt really sick. It did revitalize me though. I did stand for the rest of the concert for the most part. I was clutching my stomach the whole time. But I thought that was really cool how he noticed and was get up. I don't know if anybody has videos of that, but I swear it was at me. That's what I genuinely feel like, because I was the only one sitting down in our section. I looked around after the fact, there was nobody else sitting down, just me. And the gesture that he was making was it wasn't like this, but it was kind of it was directed at somebody in our section. It was not at P1, it was not looking down, it was looking at us. And again, I could feel his eyeballs. I pointed at myself and he nodded, and I was just yeah, hi. I felt kind of a dork, but That was really neat. I think Shono and I had a moment at some point where he like saw me, but besides that, I'm not really sure. That one was a lot more vague. But Hyungwon and Joohoney are definitely the MVPs for like noticing me and interacting with me. It was really cute. And it gives me hope for my next concerts, especially when I go to see BTS, because I'd like to show them my BTS themed tattoos. And that's what I was doing a lot of times at the concert, was holding my arms up, because they are so bright that I feel like even if it was dark or you had a hard time seeing, you could see these neon colored tattoos on somebody. But besides that, I had a really good time. I felt very blessed to have such good interactions with them. I really just couldn't believe that within an hour I had a ticket and was heading down there. Now, of course, it could have gone way worse. That person, Melanie, could have been a scammer, but she wasn't. She just unfortunately couldn't make it to the show when I was able to take her ticket off of her hands. Like I said, a lot of people that I knew were there. Shout out to Nancy and Jose and Crystal and all of the other people that I follow on Twitter and Instagram that were just there and I had no idea. I didn't make a point to meet up with anybody. It's really, for some reason, venues are always where service really sucks. So it would have been a hassle to like text them and be like, meet me by this pillar next to, you know. I despise meeting up with people at concerts because it's just such a hassle. Once it got done, because I was P2, I left with everybody else and I went straight to my car. I didn't wait. I thought about waiting to like, you know, wave at them as they got in their van or whatever, but I was so tired and feeling so sick at this point that it didn't seem worth it. So I just went to my car. I laid down in my car. I immediately called my brother to tell him about everything that happened. And then I took like a little nap before my dad called me and we talked for a while. Traffic was really bad trying to get out of the venue. I'd say that the show ended probably around 10:30. You know, it's a short walk to the parking lots. I didn't leave the venue until midnight. Partially because I was resting in my car, but also it's like you couldn't leave. Like traffic was at a standstill for a while. I don't really know why. I've never had to wait that long to leave a venue before, so I don't really know what was going on. But then I made the trek back home and didn't get home until almost 3 o'clock. But I am so glad that I ended up having this experience. Like I said, I'm not a spontaneous person, so for me, this was a really big deal. I plan all of my trips way in advance. All of the concerts that I've ever been to have been planned way in advance, at least a couple months. So this was really big and different for me. I'm really glad that I had the money and the support to be able to go and do it. I guess the purpose of this video is not only to tell you guys the story, but also to take risks if you're able to. I'm very blessed to have a vehicle that I own and 2 sources of income to be able to afford getting a ticket last minute. But I would say to anybody who can, if you got nothing better to do look up, like on Twitter. Twitter is the best place to find people selling their tickets. And I'll make a video later on how to buy resale tickets. I've only done it once, but I have a lot of like other insight from different people on how to buy resale tickets and how not. Overall, it was an amazing experience, and I really am happy that I got to do it. I'm glad that I can share my experience with you, and I hope that you enjoyed this story time. I know that I'm kind of an all over the place storyteller, but that's just who I am. I can clarify more in comments if you'd like, or in the description I can give a TLDR. But now this is the point where I will insert all of my concert videos. This video is gonna be like 30 minutes long. I hope you guys are okay with that, because I didn't want to condense the story at all. This is a look.
본격적으로
You're gonna do it?
Okay, this is the last one, okay? Last one. Give me the energy! 2, 3. Cut it.
저희는 노래를 한번 노래했고요.
So for us, we did a song called Mirror.
당연히 여러분들이 아시겠지만
느낌이 별로 안 좋은 것 같은데.
Just from your reaction, I don't think it was that great.
What do you see in your way? Your eyes are closing. When you reach your birthday, you want me hanging by your thread. Yeah. Tonight we'll stop on that kissing holiday. When you want me, baby, I just gotta know the answer. Who's not one you think I'm night and day? Inside the pain.